Hey, everybody. Welcome to another weekly edition of PSv3 training webinars. On this webinar, for those of you that are new, I would like to welcome you. Hello. Thanks for joining us. We will be doing these every single Tuesday for the foreseeable future. In my time zone, it is 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I guess you can do the math on that and figure out what time that is for you if you are listening to the replay. As I mentioned before, all replays are available at projectsupremacy.com/webinars, excuse me, v3.projectsupremacy.com/webinars. Don't forget the V3 part. All right, okay, let's see. So there's all of the replays. Make sure you catch them. We usually have them up within 24 hours of the session. So always go and check there if you don't have time to hang out with us for an hour to 2 hours, sometimes 1 hour, and sometimes we're 2 hours. It kind of depends upon the questions and the audience participation and all of those kinds of things. Nothing for sale on here, never is. We are just on here to help you understand more about how to use V3. A lot of times some cool SEO questions might come up for new trends or things that we see happening, or stuff that we've learned from some of our mastermind groups and some of our peers that we hang out with and discuss all things ranking and conversions. All right, well, I guess that's all I have to say at the moment. Herc, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, he is. All right, take it away.
Okay, guys. I guess what we'll start with is today was the day that we completed testing on our internal shop account. So when you guys joined, you picked a specific package where you're able to manage a certain number of blogs, you're able to track a certain number of keywords, you're able to get volume and CPC in the project planner for a certain number of keywords, you're able to look at competition metrics for a certain number of keywords. You're also able to add a certain, or you also already have a certain number of sub-user accounts, so things like VAs or your brother or sister can come in and help you manage your network of sites. But today, we completed testing on our new shop. Meaning that if you bought in at a lower package, but you want maybe more rank tracking, or maybe you want to look up more keywords in the project planner or scrape more metrics, whatever it is you want, you will very, very soon be able to buy individual elements for your account. So that shop, it's the PSv3 shop, was completed testing today, and that will be, we're going to do one more final round of bug testing tomorrow. But that will be live this week. So I know a lot of people have been asking for that, and that's finally ready to go, and it is working extremely well. So other than that, no real updates other than that since we've been working on that functionality. And the only other announcement, I guess, is going to try and keep today's webinar a little bit shorter, just over an hour. So we'll go to about 2:10 or 2:15 my time, which is just over an hour from now, because me and Tennille are having a baby and we need to get the house ready for the baby, and it's a disaster right now. So we got to get those things in order. So let's just do right into Q&A, guys. I don't have any presentations or anything to make, so anybody that has any questions about anything to do with V3 or I guess SEO in general, go ahead and start typing in your questions, and then we will read them out and answer them one by one for the next little while. And we can cover literally anything: websites, management, plugins, schemas, project planner, on-page optimization. Yeah, thank you, Rich. He says, congrats on the baby. And I will edit out the silence while I'm waiting for you guys to type in your questions. I'll edit that out. Unless nobody has any questions, in which we'll probably just end the webinar. But these webinars are for you guys to come in and ask your questions. If we have presentations, I always do them first, but because we've been working on the shop functionality, we don't really have any updates I want to cover. So it's all on you guys. David says, do you have an inexpensive way to pick up the Aveda theme? Not that I know of. I just know you can get it at Theme Forest, I believe it is, or something like that. And one thing that kind of was brought up on the last webinar, or the one that Terry Samuels was on, is that I've only paid for Aveda once, but I use it on every site so far, whereas Terry pays for this Aveda license for each particular website. So I mean, if you want to risk it like how I am, you can try that. I'm not sure what the repercussions are. If worse comes to worse and they tell me, hey, you're not paying for this license, I'll just go in and pay for it. Rich says, it looks like you split the process dashboard and the WP. Is that for efficiency at both ends? Rich, you mean like we have like basically the plugin and then we have the dashboard, right? That's kind of what you're saying. Yeah, they have different functionalities. The dashboard is really more for like the main functions of the dashboard is the WordPress management feature. Okay, like updating your plugins, your themes, deleting your comments. If you want to do any individual management inside a particular website, like for instance, I always work on my Bitcoin site. I can come to my website tab, search for my Bitcoin sites, okay, and then I can go in and do any individual changes that I want to this particular website, okay, with plugins, posts, or pages. So the dashboard is more for that, backing up your websites. Rank tracking kind of works on both sides, okay. I guess I'll display that right now as we're looking at it, even though we're going to talk about each individually. I'll log into a site and show you where the rank tracking shows up in this particular site. Hopefully my internet's not slow. I got a little warning from GoToWebinar today that my internet's been a little wonky. So in the project, this is the plugin now. Okay, I'm inside of a website, and this is Project Supremacy plugin. So in the project planner, okay, you can choose to track the rankings of keywords. Like you can see, for instance, this investing page or group of keywords that I'm targeting this particular page for. I did select to track the rankings for these keywords. So let's say, for instance, these four that, well, those aren't, these are tracking but not ranking. That's what the symbol means. Let me see if I can find a group that's not tracked. Okay, this one right here, when it has a hyphen through it, it means not added. Okay, we're not even tracking that. Let me see if I've got the Canadian group in here. Yeah, I do. So if you see a keyword in here that's not added and you want to track the rankings of it, select the keyword, go to the Actions tab, and track keyword rankings. Okay, it'll load the keyword. It'll ask you what search engine you want to track for. Obviously, I always do google.com, the default engine. And then I add the keyword. So what that'll do is it'll add that keyword into that group so that you can see the rank tracking for that particular keyword. Okay, so there it just got added. Now it will track, and I'll be able to see the rankings. Like you can see some of these other pages, like how to make money with Bitcoin. I can see the rankings for my intended keywords here, but over on the dashboard side, if I type in that same Bitcoin site, okay, how to make, here we go. It also tracks those same keywords over here, okay? So if I switch the rankings, here's all the keywords that I'm tracking for my project planner, okay? Project planner keywords will always be added to your dashboard keyword tracking. The only difference is on this, you can actually add additional keywords that are not in your project planner. So if I wanted to track, like, you know, trade Bitcoin in Canada, but it's not in my project manager, I still can over here. So this is a more fully feature rich rank tracking, but we did want to include it into the project planner because it's nice to see how you're doing with your rankings. And if things aren't working very well, then you definitely want to work on your on-page optimization or go check out your links or something. And if I ever make any changes to my on-page SEO, I always make a note in the notes tab, and I take a screenshot of what I had and I show the date. So you can see in 2017, October 19th, I removed the art of from the title of this page, and then I take a screenshot of it so I can refer back to it, and I use Giazzo for that. So you can see I was obviously ranking a lot better back then. It doesn't mean that I made the wrong change. This site actually got hacked, and or not hacked, it got negative SEO'd, so I got really hammered on that. So back to the dashboard. So that's the rank tracking. Dashboard is going to be great for building your schemas. Okay, any type of schema you want to build, you can build your schemas here. So local business is always one we talk about quite a bit because there's obviously a lot of local business people. You select that schema, build it, save it to a website that you already have hooked up with PSv3, or you can save it into the miscellaneous folder. And then from there, you'll be able to grab the actual schema itself, okay, by hitting the render schema once it's loaded. And if you want to copy this schema over to an HTML site or a Wix site or any of those other page builders, you can actually copy and paste the actual schema code over to those other sites, but it is built inside of Project Supremacy v3, meaning that you guys can actually build unlimited amounts of schema for non-WordPress sites. Now, how does it work with the sites that you do have added to v3? When you go to assign schemas, okay, so I would go back to my websites tab. I'd go back to how to make money with Bitcoin, and I would go into this management of this site, and I would go over to the schemas tab, okay, and that's where I could start assigning schema. So this will load up the schema that I have on this particular site. You can see I can change sites, but these are the schemas that I built and tagged to this particular website, how to make money with Bitcoin. These are all of them. And then I can assign them to the home page from here with just a click. So if I wanted to add this ICO, boom, now I have on the home page brand and article schema. I don't actually want to save those changes. And then if you want to do individual pages, you just click browse pages, choose the page that you want to work on. Okay, so now you can see there's no actual schema for Litecoin, and maybe I could add the how to make money with Bitcoin brand to that particular page and save the changes. So the difference there is that the assigning of schema, when you have the plugin and the Project Supremacy v3 plugin on your site installed on your WordPress blog, you can assign schemas with just a few clicks of a button instead of doing the copy and paste and looking for the header code and stuff like that. It makes it a lot easier. Articles, you can order content and then approve it, reject it, delete it, whatever, and then upload it to your blogs. So basically the dashboard is all those things to help you manage every website that you have from a single place, whereas the plugin is specific to the site that you're working on, and its feature set is a little bit different. The big ones are going to be the project manager, where you can have a dashboard for all the pages and posts on your site and perform your on-page optimization. The affiliate link manager, so that you can use, you can track any links that you have, whether it be on your website or off your website. You can use a masked short code and share those on Facebook and stuff. So we track affiliate links, and then the rescue center for if you get hacked and you need to restore your sites back. So that's kind of the reason we split those up. The plugin side, it kind of acts as two functions. Number one, it does connect your site to your central dashboard app, the communication. But then the plugin does have specific features that are specific for the site that it's working on. Catherine, when is the course that you're putting together as the bonus for the lab going to be ready? Oh, I got to get to work on that, Kath. I've been so busy with everything. I still am going to do that. That's 100% the plan, because we actually need that affiliate course. I just am not sure. I'm trying to find time to do everything, obviously. But I have to start that right away. And if you bought the lab, you will get access to that for free. Versus everyone else that if you're a Project Supremacy member, will sell it for very cheap. But the main reason that we're creating this is that course material is going to become part of an offer when people buy Project Supremacy v3 in the future. That course is going to be packaged in with that to help us sell Project Supremacy v3. And it won't be cheap, so you guys will get a really good deal. Shane, if we have not kept up with schema, do you happen to know which week's video is the best to hit up? Shane, all you need to do for any question like where you're searching a particular topic, come to the webinars replay page. Here's all the replays for v3. Go to the search box and type in the word schema, okay? And this will, and then you can change this to like 100 entries or whatever. This will show you every time in every past webinar that we've talked about schema. So you can get caught up very, very fast that way. But we talk a lot about schema. Rob, on-site SEO question. What is the best way to determine the title of your page or post? If you have v3 installed, you actually don't determine the title of the page or the post, you supply it. So if I go over to my pages here, and there's a couple places that I can show you this, Rob. Okay, and you go into your page editor, and remember, this is if you have V3 installed, which this is a V3 webinar. This blue box right here, okay, this is our PS SEO box. This is the title of your page. This is the URL, this is the description, and this up here is the H1. Okay, so you can control and look at the title of your pages from this box. Alternatively, if you want to kind of backwards analyze your site, what you would do is start a group called something like SEO Audit or SEO Audit today. I've done this on a couple webinars. Just create a new project in the project planner, and this would be empty. And what you do is go actions, import, sorry, I sometimes have a problem. Create pages or posts from current groups. Okay, that's not supposed to, sorry, wrong one. Import groups, where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. Create groups from existing pages or posts. There we go, that's better. And then you would just import all your pages or posts, and it would basically look something like this, okay? It would tell you what all the titles and descriptions and URLs for all your pages and posts are. Okay, so you'll be able to see, like, this page I know is missing a title and a description. This page is over here is doesn't have a description. I can see what my URLs, my titles are. So that's a way to backwards analyze and see what the title of your pages or posts are. Once you have these connected to a page or a post, well, these are connected, then if you make a change here, it will change the actual page or post title of your page or post as well. And you can look up a lot about the project planner in the search function as well. We've done quite extensive good stuff in there. You just look up project manage. Here we go, okay? All these project management are gonna help you with that, or project planner. Don says he has WordPress on 3 servers. Any tips on this situation? Tips for what, Don? Oh, I see you answered that back down here. Any tricks to working with Schema when your trading area is a combination of several communities? You could just duplicate your schema and apply it. Okay, not knowing the structure of your site, Don, if you're once like, okay, there's a couple scenarios here. If you have 3 sites and each are the same thing but different location, you could put the same schema specific to that site and that site's name and that site's description and add the location for it for each of those sites. Okay, that would be the easiest way to do it. If you have a single site that has multiple locations, and if those multiple locations are on different pages, then what you would do is duplicate the existing schema for that website, change the address, then assign it to the page that matches that address, and do that continually until you have all your locations covered. Rick, can you track a keyword in more than one engine? Probably you can. You can add like just add the same keyword and then just add a different engine to that keyword. So like, let's actually check that out. I've never done that, so I don't actually know, but let's try it. So like one BTC to USD, let's try and add this keyword on a different engine. So I would click add a keyword. Okay, one BTC to USD, and I'm gonna put it on google.ca. So I'm gonna add that keyword. Okay, so there we go. There's the keyword tracking on google.com. There's the keyword tracking on google.ca. So yes, you can. Okay, Robert, any way you can program into your schema section of V3 when you're working in a group site nest, when you save it, can you make it stay open so you can go back to the same spot you were working in? Having to open a ton of levels to get back to the section is annoying. Yeah, we've actually talked about that a lot with our coding team. And right now at the moment, I forget why they say that it's hard to do that, but I totally understand what you mean. It will, like, fold everything back up, and then you have to reopen it to go work on that. And I definitely know that that issue is there because it annoys me too when I'm building schema. But the dev team did have a specific answer as to why that's not possible. I believe it has to do with, like, you know, this schema being active, and when you save it, it has to save and then it refreshes. I can't remember, but we will try and get that built, Robert, because I agree that it is annoying. Mike, in the Facebook group, Jason asked if we should repeat the info every time when building out different schemas. I'm wondering the same thing. Does that make sense? Not fully. Should you repeat the info every time when building out different schemas? I don't really know what that means. If you're building a different schema and you're repeating the info, I don't understand the point of building a different schema if you're just repeating the info. Maybe expand on that a bit more, Mike, because I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. Shane. Okay. Mike, where is a good place to learn how to add schema to a WordPress site without the PSv3 plugin? Probably Google. Just Google it, I guess. Robert, can you add a reset date next to rank tracking 0800 in your keywords to know when your reset date is? We talked about that actually today too, for our rank tracking. It is on the 1st of the month right now. We are going to move it to the 30 days from the date that you joined. Like, so every 30 days from the date that you joined is when that will refresh. Right now it's on the beginning of every month. But yeah, we can, I'll think of something to add there. Any tricks to working with schema when your trading area is a combination of several communities? I think that was the same question I just answered. Herc, you mentioned that you finished testing for your store. Do you mean your Shopify store? No, Sen, I mean for Project Supremacy, being able to buy more items, like more rank tracking or more keyword searches or more sub-user accounts or stuff like that. Shane, you need to clone a site. Can I just back up a site and then restore it on another domain? No, unfortunately, you can't do that, because when you back up a site, you're backing up the home directory and the databases directory. And those are all specific to the domain that you're on. So if you just copy and paste it over to a new domain, you'll lose the paths. The paths will become incorrect and it will fail. So we don't have a clone website function yet. We should probably build that in though. Alex Todd, are you going to hide the PSv3 at the page and post? Alex, that update actually already happened, so let's test it. You were the one that requested that. I actually had mentioned you in a post saying that was done. That was done a while ago, actually. So let's go to our dashboard here, make sure the plugin's updated. We'll test this. So I think we're updated. It's 0.64. Okay, so now we're going to go into our website manager and we're going to hide. So what Alex is asking about, just for everyone who's wondering, is when you're working with a client and you want to hide the fact that the V3 plugin is there, what was happening is that when the client went in, you could even hide the plugin, but when the client went into any of the pages or posts, they could still see the PS SEO box and they could mess around with it, and that would kind of screw up the work that you're doing. So this guy, I've been told by the developers that we've since updated that. So let's try and see what happens. So let's go to how to make. Okay, so we're going to go into the manage website for that particular website, and we're going to hide the plugin. Okay, and now when I press refresh on this page, you'll see V3 under the dashboard here should disappear. And then the PS SEO box, there you go, Alex, it does also disappear now. So when the plugin's hidden, the PS SEO box is now hidden for you. So just update your plugin. But I need to unhide that because I need to see it. Show plugin. And now I'll refresh this page. And V3 is back and the PS SEO box is now back. You guys, everyone that likes that feature, you can thanks Alex Bake for that because he was the one that that brought that to our attention that the PS SEO box was still showing. Rick, you're trialing a website software called Ignitor, which is a proprietary software. I don't think I can add plugins. How can I use PSv3 with a site like that? I don't know if you can. If you can't add the plugin, then you can't really use PSv3 on it. What you can do, I don't know what Ignitor really is, and I don't know the functionality behind it, but if it allows you to add like scripts or whatever, schema, stuff like that, you can still build schema for it. You can still plan out, I don't even know if Ignitor builds pages or posts, but if it does, you can still use the project planner to plan them and then just copy and paste everything from the project planner over to the Ignitor site. But as far as like integrating as nicely as Project Supremacy does with WordPress with Ignitor, that's not going to happen. PSv3 is a WordPress specific software for the management and the integration features. Yeah, I don't even know what Ignitor is, Corky. Shane, a clone function would be awesome. One other feature question, because I'm trying to replace Troyer's Launchpad, will there be a function to build out pages with syntax and geo-specific data? No, we actually have another product for that called SurfCheck. Project Supremacy is not going to be a website builder ever. It's more going to be a tool for management and planning, but not building. And PDN management features and stuff like that are going to come soon. But Surf.tech is a product. Basically, building out mass pages is what you're talking about, Shane. And that's SurfTech. You'll have to contact. It's not actually for sale publicly either. By the way, you'll get there and it'll just show you that it's like not for sale. You won't even see any details because we've always sold that product in private. We've never opened it up publicly. To keep it working from people. So if you do want to see more about it, reach out to myself or Todd or the support desk, use the chat bubble and say, hey, can I get more information about SurfTech? And then they'll help you out that way because it is private. As far as the clone site stuff, now, what are you doing with the clone? Like the clone site, I've never cloned a site. So why don't you guys tell me, why would you ever want to clone a site? Does that just mean you just want a different domain for all the same content and stuff like that? He says, so what he's doing is building up pages that I send non-affiliate friendly traffic to, and then I retarget that traffic. So you guys are saying a lot of people answering questions. So clone to add separate site for a separate location. You clone sites to test new plugins. You do websites for dentists, so they are all very similar. Cloning makes it easy. Cloning to move work between test and production versions of a website. Generally, cloning is used to create a reusable template. There is one thing that we can show you guys that, I mean, cloning a setup, okay? There's cloning a site, and then there's cloning a setup to me in my mind. Cloning a site is like you're choosing all the same plugins, choosing all the same themes, choosing all the same content, posts, pages, sending it to a different domain. That's a pure clone. It's like the exact same website with a new domain name, right? And you can really do that from our backups. If you could probably go to Fiverr and hire a guy, give them the backup file and say, look, I want this to now exist on this domain, because all they have to do is go in and change the path so that the URLs and the databases match up correctly, right? It won't be hard for us to do that either, I don't think. So we'll probably build something like that in. I just don't personally see a big use for it. But saying that, what we do have is the ability in V3 to clone setups. Because the theme is one thing. It's easy to upload a theme. So let's say I really like everything that's going on with how to make money with Bitcoin.net. All I'd have to do is download all these plugins. And you see this little download button, guys? Okay. Well, actually, let me just show my active plugins since I can't do that on here. But I would just download all my active plugins. And what this download button does is it downloads it to your V3 dashboard or into your repository. Okay, so let me go show you that. If we go to account settings and then my plugins and themes, you can see here's all the plugins that I use on a consistent basis. Okay, and you'll notice some of them are tagged. So let's say that this plugin I'm using all the time for something. I can actually tag any of these plugins so that, like SurfCheck setup, you can see I've already done it. So every time I want to build a certain specific type of site, I tag this plugin as a SurfCheck setup, and then this one's part of SurfCheck. So then what I do is I launch the website. I go to websites. Okay, I use the WordPress installer to install WordPress, right? Then I load the website. Let's just say it was this one. Sorry. I'll do a SurfCheck site. Where's my? There we go. Okay, so I would install it, then I would load it on, like install Project Supremacy on the site. Sorry, WordPress install first, install Project Supremacy V3 second, so it shows up in the dashboard. Then from the dashboard, go to Manage Website, go to Plugins. Okay, then when I click on Add New Plugin, I can go to My Plugins and select them by group. So I want the SurfCheck setup. So I would select that, and this is actually a SurfCheck site, so nothing's being selected. But it would check off the SurfCheck plugins, and then I click upload, and then it literally duplicates that set of plugins on that site. Then all I have to do is install the same theme that I always use, and that site's literally a cloned setup, right? But don't worry, guys, we'll build in a cloned version so you can move from one domain to another. That's, probably not that hard to do. I know how to do it by changing paths, but I think for more noobs, they probably might not. But James, what you just said as a foundation for SurfCheck sites with all the plugins, what I just showed you is it really gives you the ability to do that. You know what we might even do is we might even build it right into the WordPress installer. Like as long as you have your plugins loaded, we might have a step in here that says, okay, what plugins do you want to upload and what theme? And then it'll execute that site and that build for you right from here. But as far as content, that's a pure clone to a new domain. But as far as skeleton setups, like what Ted just said, perhaps a clone, that's where, we're like 80% of the way there, I think, already. There is ways to do it, and it is very, very fast. Yeah, I guess, yeah, Tim says that would be awesome and a big time saver. Yeah, it's good for launching sites. I guess I haven't launched a new site in so long that I haven't really. Typically, guys, when I'm personally coming up with features for V3, it's because I'm doing a repetitive task with a website or something. I'm like, man, this needs to be in V3, but I haven't built or launched a website in so long because we've been so focused on building V3. Sometimes stuff like that kind of goes beyond me or over my head. But yeah, that we can do that. We can expand the functionality of the WordPress installer to set up your plugins, your themes, and stuff like that right from here. Hey, Bruce. Any more questions about anything? Is everything Divi compatible? Yeah, it's pretty, I'd say we're like damn well Divi compatible now, to be honest. This How to Make Money with Bitcoin site is on Divi. You can see use Divi Builder. Everything's kind of working now. We got rid of all the shortcut errors and shit like that. So I'd say I haven't heard of a Divi conflict in so long. So we're pretty much Divi compatible. Thrive Themes compatible. We're definitely Aveda compatible. Those are the big three for me anyways. Yeah, the only issue, Tim, that we had with Divi were Divi built-in keyboard shortcuts, meaning if you pressed, M or something on your keyboard when you were putting a title into Project Supremacy, it would load a Divi function. So we finally found a way to get around that, and that was really the only Divi issue that I had. Rick, you heard on a webinar that Divi was better than JSON. Is that true? Do you mean that Divi schema is better than JSONLD schema? No, that's not true, man. Google specifically has said. Okay, it was straight from the horse's mouth. Where was it? There's somewhere on the guide in structured data where Google specifically said JSONLD is our preferred format of schema building, even though they offer I forget where it was though. You'll have to look it up, but no, I don't. I don't know what was said on that webinar that Divi schema is better than JSON. Divi schema is, I believe, microdata format, I believe. They were talking about the best way to set up schema. Yeah, but you can't compare Divi to JSON because JSON isn't really a way to set up schema. It's a type of schema, right? And Divi might have a schema builder in it. But the best way to set up schema is right here on the Project Supremacy V3 schema builder. This is the best way to set up schema. To me, this is I guarantee you this is better than what Divi has. I guarantee that. You guys have no idea how big and hard it was to code this. The guys went crazy building this. Tim, you were right there. It said they recommended it on the top of one of the paragraphs I scrolled by. Oh, did I just miss it? On the top paragraphs. Whatever. Yeah, you can look for it in Google, but Google says they prefer the JSONLD format for sure, which is basically scripting, right? Yeah, we don't really talk too much about crypto, but it's coming back. It will come back. Don't you worry, all you crypto fiends. Will we be doing any more SurfCheck webinars? Some time ago, you complimented someone for building out a SurfCheck for their money site. Around the same time, Jason mentioned building themes. When it gets done, I'd love to see a demonstration. Well, we're not doing any SurfCheck webinars for a while, just because no new updates have come out. Jason, I spoke to Jason a little while ago, and he did say he has a few new updates coming out. And the reason we canceled the SurfCheck webinars, or postponed them, I'll say, rather than canceled, was because they started getting very repetitive, where people were asking the exact same thing over and over again, which tells me they weren't watching the replays. So, and the reason they weren't watching the replays is because they didn't want to have to search through, 120 hours of video for a single question. So we did the same thing in SurfCheck webinars that we did with Project Supremacy, and it's now a searchable database of webinars. So we just refer people to that. We literally have covered everything, and I believe you can even find that that guy's website that did a webinar. It's in the members area, Rick. the SurfCheck webinars. Those aren't open webinars. Those are members only webinars. Can you guys still hear me? Somebody muted me. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry, I don't know how I got muted there. But there, I don't know if you guys heard me say this, but there it is, right from on the Google developers page. There's JSONLD as the recommended format, right from Google's mouth. Thanks for pointing that out, Tim. Any more questions about anything, anyone? Thank you, Nadine. She says, congrats on the new baby, and thanks for being here today. August 25th is our due date, so we're trying to get everything ready for now. Bruce, what do you mean? He said, how can I get double time in one day? What do you mean? Maybe that's a joke that went over my head. Timothy, did you say you had a website cloning process? I have a structural process, which I just explained. Oh, Bruce says it's too much. How do you get double time in one day? Because he has too much to do and not enough time to do it in. Well, I could probably go on a rant about that kind of stuff. Exercise more so that your brain clarity's function is better. Use tools that increase your efficiency, like Project Supremacy v3. Only assign a specific amount of time to every task, and whether you hit your goal or not, end it. So like say if I'm going to work on a website build and I have to assign myself an hour for it, and whether I'm done the website or not, stop working on it, because over time, teaching yourself that you only have a certain amount of time to get things done in will help you increase your efficiency overall. Stuff like that. Notepads is a huge one for me when I have things that I want to do. I create every day. I have a just like one of those cheap little notebooks, and I write the date on it, and I write the tasks that I have to do. And as they get done, I check them off. I also go back each day to the previous few days or whatever and work on tasks that weren't done first before I approach new tasks. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. Mike, I could show you how to install Schema without WordPress, but it's different for every website. It's literally finding out, and this is why it's hard to explain this, because every, like HTML sites are easy. If you look at an HTML document, you just put it in the head tag of an HTML document, but you might be building a Wix site, and I can't tell you where to put it in Wix because I don't know Wix, so every builder is going to be different. But basically, most builders will have a place where you can copy and paste a script into the header of your page or your website. And that's what you want to do for other sites. So like you would go to your schemas, choose the schema that you want to assign to the non-WordPress site, copy it, well, render it first like this, right? And then you take this code, and that's the code you want to paste into the header section of that builder, right? And it depends if what the builder is. So I can't really, unfortunately, answer that question fully for you. How do you install it? Okay, you're saying how do you install the schema code on a WordPress site without the automation? Oh, well, on a WordPress site, I mean, I don't know why you would want it. Okay, another question for you, Mike. Does that WordPress site have v3 on it or not? No, it doesn't. Okay, so add a header and footer script plugin to your WordPress blog. You can search these plugins, add new. Okay, there's a few ways to do this, but the easiest one would be header script. Do a search for something like that, header scripts. Okay, so go add script to individual pages, header and footer. You could use a plugin like this or this one, header and footer scripts. And you would install that plugin, and then you'd go to the page, right? And you would copy and paste that code for that particular, if you're building schema for a specific page, you would copy and paste that page's schema into the header or footer using that plugin. Pretty easy. The other thing you could do, if it's a site-wide schema, and this gets a little bit more advanced and is also dependent on what theme you're using, is you can go into your appearance and then, sorry, go into, where is it? Yeah, go into this editor, okay? And depending on what theme you're editing, you would find like the header.php file. So here it is right here. And I could load that up. And if you know how to read this stuff, you could insert that into the head of that PHP file. But I wouldn't recommend doing that if you don't know PHP. So you can see there's the actual HTML code for it. So I can add it right there. Right? So there's schema. I'm not actually going to do that. But that's another way to do it. There's all kinds of plugins though that make it easier, just adding header and footer scripts to pages. Bruce says he's being an ass, but it's good input nonetheless. Oh, that's probably regarding how do you increase productivity in a day. It's actually kind of a, I mean, I like that topic, you know, increasing efficiency, being organized and shit like that. Like I'm a Virgo, I guess. I don't know if that Virgo really means anything, but I am, by nature, I'm a very, very anally specific person. I have to have things in a specific order, in a specific way. And it just helps. So that subject of organization, productivity and stuff like that, I do like that stuff. Who's the best person, course, or researching on building and running a PBN? I mean, you could go to the lab, but the lab's not just about PBNs, but they have a PBN module in there that's really good. And Matt Diggity talks about it. He's running a really awesome. He does a really awesome PBN. And then you could also go to Matt Woodward. He has a PBN course that's out there called Marketer's Seal PBN Certification. And that one's good and the information's good. And the nice thing about it is that Matt backs up what he teaches by doing what he teaches. The shortfall of that one, in my personal opinion, is that it really only deals with expired domains. And I personally really like auction style domains. I find they typically have a lot more power. I've never played with expired domains. I've been told time and time again that you can make them work. But to me, I just go for the big fish and I just get auction domains. So Matt Diggity is also the same. SERP Champion, you can go there and get information about it, but he mainly sells PBNs and PBN setups. So there's a few places. I mean, you can go to hercmagnus.com, and I do have 2 videos on there that teach how I buy PBNs from auction. The info is really old, but I think it's still pretty good, and it's free information on hercmagnus.com if you want. Your client won't let you install PSv3. Well, that sucks. Yeah, I wish I knew why. And then I could tell you what to say to them, but without knowing why, then nothing I can really say. Catherine, by changing the header PHP file, might you be in danger of losing your header schema and need to redo it every time they update the theme? Yes, Kath, you're absolutely right. If you change the header.php file and the theme has an update, they will overwrite your changes unless you create a child theme, which is super advanced. So, I mean, like I said, messing with their core files for themes and plugins is never really recommended unless you truly know what you're doing. You know how to basically code. I would just install a plugin for easier things like that. You're absolutely right. And I've actually ran into that multiple times. And I learned that the hard way. That's when I used to install AdSense code into the header.php file. And then one day my site would just no longer have the AdSense code on it because I updated the theme, but I didn't realize that updating the theme was erasing the code until finally, like after it happened 3 or 4 times, I was like, wait a minute, what the hell? And then I was like, oh, okay, it's the update. Rick, you've always bought a new domain rather than an expired or auction domain. Do you think that is a problem? It's just easier to create a name and then buy it. Well, in the PBN world, Rick, you can't just buy a domain name off some registrar and turn it into a PBN. That's not really how PBNs work. In that regard, an expired domain would have a hell of a lot more power than just buying a brand new domain that's never been registered before, because the reason we buy PBNs is because they have backlinks from other sites already. And really what you're buying is the backlink power of that site. You're buying all those backlinks into that site so that when you link to the sites you want to rank, you're transferring all that power, right? And typically expired domains, from what I've seen at least, don't typically have a lot, or scrape domains, as you see a lot of scrapers out there. They don't have as many quality links pointing into them. I mean, you can find them, they're harder to find. Auction domains, typically, that's why they cost more money, because everyone knows that they have a shit ton of good links on them. So, I mean, you can easily spend over $5,000 for a single powerful PBN, and I've done it multiple times. Like typically $1,000 is really what I pay for like really, really powerful PBNs. Mike, you had installed it and her POS web guy from India trashed it and said it messed up her website. Yeah. Without submitting a support ticket or figuring out what was going on. One thing I know is that, okay, so let's say you're starting with a website, a set of plugins, a theme, and a hosting environment, and everything's working. And then you add Project Supremacy, and now things are broken. And what is the culprit there, right? You're all going to immediately think, or most people would immediately think, well, everything was working before. I added V3, and now shit is broken. And so V3 is a problem. And the thing that we're finding typically is that why it's breaking is V3 won't install itself with things like where IonCube's not present, or they're not updated on OpenSSL certificates or shit like that. So all that V3 is really doing in that instance is revealing a problem that they didn't know they had, and it's breaking their site as a result. But trust me, it's like V3 doesn't cause problems, it solves problems. It may break a website, but if the website breaks because you install V3 on it, there's a conflict somewhere that needs to be resolved anyways. Yeah, see, and Mike says in the end it was her hosting that didn't do well with IonCube. Then she has I'll tell you this for a fact, she has a shitty host. Because IonCube is like pretty much a standard on every major host. It's you go to the PHP INI file and you turn it on. It's a switch. It's a check mark. It takes 10 seconds. And if they don't have it, then she's on the wrong host. Bruce, does spinning content work any better than syndicating and or curating content? Well, I guess it depends on the type of site that you're building, right? Like what kind of, are you building a real site, like an actual affiliate site going for real brand, or are you building a SurfCheck site, right? And then and when you say better, do you mean better for indexing? Do you mean better for ranking? Okay, so SurfCheck, does spinning content on a SurfCheck site work any better at ranking than syndicating? I know that the way Jason set up the SurfCheck builds, they work. I know that spinning content, even if you spin at like really high readability, it's still shit and it doesn't read as well. So personally, I've never really been a fan of spinning content. I think it's too easy to tell that it's spun. Whereas Jason's plugin basically takes chunks of fully readable content and mixes them up and mashes them up all topically relevant on each individual page. So the readability score is extremely high. And I think that's why, that's why part of why SurfCheck works. Syndicating content, basically means taking the entire content piece, putting it on your page, and then providing a reference back to that piece of content. I mean, with SurfCheck, I wouldn't do that. It doesn't create a unique piece of content. You have a duplicate content scenario there where you have the same article just on a different URL. And then curating content, I mean, curating is really, I would assume, what Jason's doing, where he's grabbing a paragraph from here and there of a bunch of different articles and then mashing them all together. And that's what seems to be working best. And I totally get that and why it would work. I'll give you guys about another minute or so to ask a question. If nothing comes in, then we'll just probably end this webinar so that I can edit it and put it up. Bruce says he's asking because he wonders about news sites where the content is exactly the same from one news site to the next. Yeah, the difference between a news site and another SurfCheck site, though, Bruce, is the authority of the site. They're all huge. Like, if I had a domain with a massive authority and I was syndicating content from other places, that would be fine because I've already got so many backlinks, I've got so much protection around this site that I can syndicate content and probably rank for different shit. Whereas a SurfCheck site, you're starting from scratch, right? And that's why it's situational, and that's kind of what I was saying, what type of site initially when I was asking you. It is very situational. Basically, when you guys go out, if you ever build, if you want to think really long-term, I know a lot of people want to make money fast and now, right? But if you want to make money not as fast, but in a longer period and probably more of it, you have to build brand-based sites, like big authority style sites where your domain's not like how to make money with Bitcoin.net. It would be more like cryptomag.com. And you constantly are publishing solid content on a regular basis. And over time, that site will naturally build up links from real people sharing articles, linking to it, and then it becomes an authority. Once it's an authority, you could put up a page and target a certain group of keywords and rank like nothing. You don't even need backlinks at that point. But that takes a lot longer, you know what I mean? But in the long run, guys, I mean, if you want to build a site that makes you $100,000 a month or $100,000 a year even, would be a great goal. Build a big authority site. Start now and work on it like once a week. Use a brandable brand, like a brandable domain, like oshiblocks.com I registered and cryptomag.com I registered for Bitcoin or cryptocurrency type sites. And the plan, of course, that I never got to was to build those out as brand authority sites because those are just in the long run far more profitable and far more risk-free. Yeah, and you could do both, right? Like buy the EMDs, like you could still buy the how to make money with Bitcoin, target like certain keywords. Like that site got to over 1,000 hits a day in its prime for a bunch of Bitcoin related stuff and made me a pile of money. I made tons of money on that website, and then I shared it so much on webinars that eventually it got negative SEO'd like crazy. I even got an offer from 99 Bitcoins to buy the site, but their offer was so shitty it was almost insulting. They offered me $500 for it. I was like, you're insane. So it's good to have both. Like build the EMDs for the quick cash, but don't expect those to turn into anything like massive unless you really nail a niche before it's about to explode like Bitcoin did. But build brand sites for big, long-term, stable income. Fast and now is good. Yeah. Long-term is also important as so you don't work for the rest of eternity. Yeah, that's a good point. The EMD sites will make you money, but you're going to lose them eventually. So if you want to spend the rest of your life, building, and that's not even that big of a deal. Like if you build an EMD site one per month, and it lasts only a year, well, it's still a year of income from probably, less than 10 hours of work. So, I mean, build enough of them. And I always used to say when I was young, my retirement strategy was to make so much money that I didn't have to worry about it. And that's still kind of the goal. So you can do that with EMDs, just keep spitting them out. But if you want to just build something that you can walk away from that'll continually profit, that's a brand site. Is there anything too long-term other than the domain name? Well, yeah, I mean, the long-term stuff is like, you obviously got to continually add content to it. I mean, once you built it up to a reasonable size brand, that's where you could probably like shift gears and like relax a little bit. target specific affiliate programs, sell advertising or whatever, but building it up, like say it takes you about a year to 2 years to build a good brand domain. During that year or 2 years, once you have a brandable domain, it's going to be constant nurturing of the content that you're putting out there, the social network that you build around it. So you'd want a Facebook page for it, you'd want a Twitter account for it, all those social profiles. You'd want to syndicate your content out to each of those things on automated schedule. You might want to hire writers so that you have, 1 or 2 articles of solid content coming out per week. So it's a constant, effort to build it up to the brand. But once the brand is there, once it's solid, that's when you can like really take a step back and let it just monetize itself. And then it's also easy once it's branded and authoritative to like put up one page for like, Bitcoin review and rank instantly, just because you have such good power. Tim says, keep up the good work. I've been slowly working your system into my business and look forward to getting my new SEO employee up to speed with V3. Takes time to do it right, and Project Supremacy is a great way to go. Thanks. I've gone from 5K a month client SEO in June to 12K average in January. Finally starting to rock. That's awesome, Tim. Crossing that $10,000 a month barrier is so huge. I'll tell you that. I mean, it was for me. I know we fought to get to that 10K a month barrier. I thought, when me and Tennille first went down to Phoenix that first year, when we actually quit our jobs and we wanted to go full time, we moved down to Phoenix, and I said, during the 6 months that we're in Phoenix, I want to get to $10,000 a month. And after 6 months, we came home and we were only making we only built it up from like, we left and we were at like $3,000 a month. We came home 6 months later, we were at $9,000 a month. And I was kind of disappointed because I thought, 6 months, I should have been able to build up my agency over $10,000 a month, but I didn't. But what I also didn't realize was during that 6 months, what I was really doing is I was laying a foundation, a really strong foundation. I was setting up processes to close clients. I was setting up, structures and what did they call them? SOPs of how to do SEO and stuff like that. And I was working really hard on all that, but I wasn't really working hard on sales. But I went from 9,000 to 20,000 in the next 2 months once I got home. Once I got back into Canada, and then I started going into sales, it just was like, boom, it just took off because I had all the structure and the foundation laid, and we've just never, ever looked back from there. So that 6 months was a good investment in setting up a good foundation for our business. So congrats, Tim. That's awesome. He says it truly is. He had one client pay $15 upfront for 2 websites and $500 per month SEO for both, and grossing 9.5K residual clients. 15K. Yeah, that's deadly, man. That's so awesome. I'm so happy to hear that PS is part of that process too. Obina. Okay, I guess that will wrap it up then for today, guys. Doesn't look like there's any questions left, so.
Cool. I got time to run to the doctor before I go with the kids.
Oh yeah, Sam, this was your first webinar. Hopefully, this one is kind of interesting for it being your first webinar because we touched on a lot of fluffy stuff today, whereas usually we're very technically hardcore. So hopefully all you newbies to our webinar still enjoyed it, and go watch the replays to get a different sense of the other stuff that we do. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
All right, guys, we'll have a great week, everyone, and we will see you back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.